What's up, Blueprint family? Thank you all for joining us tonight. It is Marriage Fit Friday. Yes, finally, we made
Yay.
it to the end of the weekend.
The week.
The week, rather.
Yes. Ready for the weekend.
Yes, ready for the weekend. So go ahead and make you a drink of your favorite beverage and sit back, relax, and listen to us as we give you some words of wisdom when it comes to relationships. So tonight's topic is what, honey?
Here's why I'm refusing to marry my girlfriend. It's
Mm-hmm.
quite an interesting question from a young man who is basically saying this is why he won't marry his girlfriend. So let's hear what he has to say and respond accordingly.
Yep, and as always, Instagram viewers, you will be able to see the letter if you are on YouTube. We do broadcast the letter on YouTube, and then also we have HD video, and then also sound as well. So if you can, please like and subscribe our videos, and let's begin.
Yep. Okay. So I was distracted. Got to pull it on up for us and get on into this. All right. So we'll read it first and then dissect it because it's pretty short. So, Subject: how do I explain this? I have been with this girl for about 3 years and everything is going great. I'm 24, she is 26. We rarely argue about anything other than marriage. It brings me immense pain to say this, but my girlfriend is a failed artist. She went after her dreams, and all she has gotten is student loan debt and a dead end job at a nonprofit. Unlike her, I went the safe route and gotten a mechanical engineering degree and ended up finding a job that pays me around 108K. But with bonuses, it's around 136K. Currently, I have absolutely no debt and invest about 40% of my after tax income into retirement and taxable brokerage accounts. She's making about 60% less of what I make and has student loans amounting to just less than 150K.
Ouch.
I tried explaining to her over and over again to be conservative in her decision making. She blames me for not supporting her goals in life. All I'm trying to be is a responsible adult. And we got into an argument last week on marriage. She says that I'm selfish and that I don't love her. I do love her, but as I said, I'm very conservative when it comes to making decisions. I'm also a realist and understand that nothing in life lasts forever. Down the road, if something was to occur that would end the relationship, I could lose 50% of my assets.
More than that.
I just want to know, how should I explain this to her without coming off uncaring? How can I explain to her that I'm willing to marry her once she finds a better paying job and pays off her debts?
Look no more. We have an answer for you, young man. It can be done, to be honest with you. Now that I see all of this information and detail and what he's providing, he can do this if he wants to. I see that he makes a good amount of money, a good income that he has, and then also too, like we preach every night about retirement. This man has it going on as far as investing early in retirement. He should have somewhere close to $500,000 by the time he retired in his 401k savings and his job retirement account and pension alone, to be honest with you. Since the fact that he's only, how old is he, 26?
24.
24. Oh yeah, since he's 24, yeah, he's well on his way. So he's one of the lucky ones, an exceptional person who has a high value job.
The issue is being with this woman for 3 years, though.
Right.
Is my only, and that's the major first thing that goes off in my head. Great, he's 24, and yes, after reading this letter, we see he has it going for himself.
Right.
Awesome. Kudos to that. Here's the issue. You've been with this girl for 3 years and you have yet to want to move forward in this relationship. So, like, why are you stringing her along?
Well, I think what happened was they probably met in college, and he's they're to the point where they're graduated, maybe. And so it's not that fact that he's stringing her along, is that they probably didn't think about
No.
marriage while they were in college. You get what I'm saying? So
I mean, rightfully so, but then why are you in? My issue is if you're in a relationship for 3 years, y'all haven't
yeah, that
established goals for the
no,
relationship. Y'all haven't
of course
talked
they haven't.
about.
Of course they haven't because they
Then
did.
why are you dating? I don't understand. We say of like this,
Well,
like it's so.
think of it this way. At 3 years ago, he was 21. 3 years ago, she was 23. They were in college still, and especially the fact that she's an artist. Yeah, it probably took a while to graduate from college because I don't know, whatever the case may be. She has $150,000 in debt. That doesn't sound like she graduated in 4 years.
And I'm trying to figure out, how does this mean and bring, like, she's a failed artist. What did she go to? The artist degree costs $150,000.
Well, what I just said was that she probably failed a couple of years in school. $150,000. That's more
That is
than
a lot.
that is more than 4 years. Yeah, but you have to understand, honey, since we've been in college, which 10 some years ago, inflation hit. That's on average pretty much how much people are paying in debt and coming out. We're the lucky ones because
$150,000.
Yes. You remember that article that you told me
in
about?
student loan debt.
Yes, because you have to think about room and board and food and all this other stuff that happened in inflation, honey. This is after COVID. So
that is
it is and insane. That's the reason why we say that it's a better idea not to go to college right now because of how much it costs. And unless you're going to take some sort of degree like this young man has did, and you're going to graduate, then by all means go for it. You have a high IQ, intelligent type mentality, go for it. But the thing is that a lot of us don't. So we come out with degrees such as basket weaving here, and then you don't make enough money. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
No, I know. It's just,
right.
It's funny. Like
right. And then that's what she did.
That's a house. That is like a house. $150,000.
It was.
It's not
it
making
was.
no money.
It was a house.
That's at least a tiny house
but
right
not,
now.
But I'm just saying that because that's how bad inflation is now. And then will it ever go down? No. We never have been in a decade or a time where inflation dropped. I mean, to be honest with you, significantly. Then inflation has steadily been going up like this, and then now it's like this. And that's the crazy thing about the times that we live in which we have to pivot, adjust, and move in differently. Mm-hmm. We got to do things differently in order to survive. I mean, what I mean by survive, to make it to retirement. And this guy, he did it. Luckily, he's the type of guy with a high IQ. Evidently, he has a mechanical engineer degree. Yeah. So I didn't know that in the beginning, and so he's getting paid around $108,000 right now. So by the time he's 30, he should be making somewhere close to $200,000. Mm-hmm. That's 10 years from now. Or no, well, 10 years from now, he should be making somewhere close to that amount. Right. And that's only because of the rate of inflation, to be honest with you. And then also his retention. The job wants to keep him, so they're going to pay him. Right. For his knowledge.
I disagree here where he says, unlike her, I went the safe route. I do agree that is definitely the safe route for a man, to go get a degree for a high paying job. But I honestly, truthfully, in my complete honest opinion, believe the safe route for a woman is different than the safe route for a man. And honestly, for her, one of the first missteps for me is that she's 26 and he's 24. So like you said, he was 21 when they first started. She was 23. She at that time should have been looking to be a wife to a man who is older than 21 years old. He can't possibly be a provider. And with a dreamy, idealistic job like an artist, you need to have that support coming in from somewhere, because oftentimes it takes a while for your career to get off the ground, especially if you're,
well, I mean, understanding women like we do today, that was her whole goal, was to hopefully her love project of art will be funded by her husband, which is this young man.
But how the heck could you see that in a 21-year-old man?
Because she asked him, what is your degree? And he said mechanical engineering. Probably, how was your grades? I'm making all A's. Oh, I need to bag him up.
But he's 21 years old, and neither was he in the mind frame of wanting to take her on as a wife, and that is where the mistake lies, because here for
Well,
3 years he has had yet any intention of taking her on as a man and leading her in the relationship.
well, I mean, to be fair, he just got into his career. He
Right,
said he just
right.
found out, but the thing is that
Which is fine.
right, they
Which
were
is fine.
yeah, but it's also fine too that they had first chose struggle love. That's the thing. They chose struggle love in the beginning. It's nothing.
Go ahead.
It's nothing against that, but the thing is that this is typical.
No, it has to be agreed upon struggle love. This wasn't agreed upon struggle love. This was y'all doing your own separate things for 3 years, and he's keeping track on how far she's gotten along, and she's keeping track on how far he's gotten along. But nowhere within this 3 years have they decided on getting along together. He's not interested in paying off her debt and all this stuff, which is fine. I think that is totally acceptable.
Okay.
That's not my beef. Neither is it that he's young starting a career. Mine is just the fact of this kind of all started wrong in the sense of it seemed like she wanted, but it seems like she wanted something that he was not able to offer her. And in the end, she's still wanting something that he's not able to offer her right now. And that's
I don't know what their relationship dynamic was like. Evidently, it was their relationship outside of the money, outside of the degree, it worked. It worked for them.
Yeah.
They played house and it was working for them until they start talking about money. That's the part that isn't working for them, because he's making all the money and he wants her to pay her bills, her own bills.
Right. They've been living separate lives.
Right.
Like, and that, again, is it really working? Because in the end, it's just y'all playing roommates and having sex. And that's kind of just my beef. Like, I think it's wonderful that he has this new job and he's paying off his debt and investing his money. But if you're the man in this relationship, why aren't you teaching her how to use her money in a more financial, way, in a better financially positioned way, so that she can get out of debt, so that then she could get married?
Because it's going to take her another 10 years to get out of that debt with the type of job she's making at $50,000.
Right. And that then brings me back to my very, very first point in case. This wasn't an agreed upon struggle love. This was the convenience of being in a relationship with each other that had no issues, because she was hoping that he would love to be with her, and he likes that, but it's not purposeful. It was never connected, and that's a waste. And that's, to me, where it went wrong, because it's like she wanted a husband who would invest in her dreams, because he says right here, well, she's making about 60% less. And she, I tried to explain to her over and over again to be conservative in her decision making. So this part, it answers what I said about him needing to teach her things.
Yeah, she's not listening. Yeah. You see, that's the whole point of what I'm trying to get to. None of that stuff matters, because she's not going to take that advice anyway.
Well, that does matter. And that shows, too, the alignment of that's not the one for you. Because if you're a woman and you're not willing to take the instruction or the criticism or the constructive feedback from your man, then,
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm going to fast forward so that we can, yeah, but I was trying to get you to understand this, was that he has options here. His options is one, either he can wait for her to pay her stuff off, if that's what he wanted to do, and then get married. He can pay them all for her. She can work or whatever the case may be and help her pay that off. And he's going to have to come to terms about that and understand that. And then also, too, they need to sign a prenuptial agreement. So that's the part that he's worried about, with the 50% of my money being gone or what have you. He has options. They don't necessarily have to break up or whatever the case may be, because evidently everything else about their relationship is working for them.
The sex, the
sex, but who's
and having a roommate, because, honey, what's not working is the most important things that matter in a relationship, and that's moving forward. For 3 years, these people have been in a relationship that has no goals, no
right.
Nothing.
I need to take you back to college. When you and I were in college, we didn't have any goals at all.
I knew I wanted to be married and have a husband.
Right. And I ain't have any goals either. To
Well,
be honest
that's
with you.
fine, but I knew I wanted to be married and have a husband, and I wouldn't have gotten with any guy who didn't want to be married and have kids. I would certainly wouldn't have wasted 3 years of my
Yeah, but
valuable
they probably
prime
do want to get
life.
married and have kids. They even talked about marriage. That if you go on further, they're getting to the point of talking about marriage, but he has stipulations. He needs to roll all of those stipulations into a prenuptial agreement, and then they can go and get married because she has to hold up her end of the deal of paying her debts, and then therefore they can agree to get married. So he gonna have to hold her up to that because if not, then they can go and get a divorce, and then he owes her nothing behind that. But more than likely, knowing her being the fact that she's in debt, he holds the upper hand as far as the negotiations of the marriage. So if they love each other so much, then they can go ahead, get a prenuptial agreement, roll all of that into the prenuptial agreement, and then go ahead and get married and have her account for her debts. And then therefore he can supply the whole family and relationship. He can pay the mortgage, have it under his name. He can pay the food. He can buy the food, have that under her name, but she's going to have to work to pay off her college loans.
So, with all that in mind, how are they supposed to have kids or anything like that if, like, we know $150,000 worth of debt is probably going to take her at least 10 years to pay off at minimum. So that means she has to be working. And then again, I don't see, he's not coming off as wanting to be a provider. Nothing in this says that he says that
That's the thing. He has to mature to want to be a provider. He's still selfish. Like they go back and you'll see the selfish thing came up. Or either go over. I guess you need to fast forward that. She blames me for not supporting the goals, and I'm trying to be
which is true, and I didn't want to skip by this though because that is important. Like him saying that because in a way, it's just in a way it's kind of like if he's not going to me, a man is supposed to be a provider.
He's not a man yet,
But so why are you in a relationship if you're not wanting to be a man? Is my beef like with the whole thing? Like
the thing is that he needs to grow. Since he can't break away from her, then he is going to learn to be a man in the relationship. Often at times, relationships is what turn boys into men. The trying and the cooperation and those things, that is what often at times turn boys into men, wanting to be a provider, understanding to raise a family, taking those next steps. Those relationship life changes or situations that happen while you're in a relationship molds men and boys into men. Often at times a boy can't be a man by himself. Often it doesn't happen. If he doesn't have a mentor, somebody who he looks up to, if he doesn't have someone that he's talking to that is his father in his life to show him the ropes and what a man is, because ultimately he's going to get married to somebody anyway. So he's choosing to stick with this girl who he's been talking to for 3 years. I have a lot of hope in his relationship because he's still with her with the fact that he's making 6 figures. He could as easily dump her and leave her. But the thing is that he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. So therefore
but that is my beef though. You don't want to progress the relationship, but then you also don't want to let it go. It's like, so
where's it that he said he doesn't want to progress the relationship?
Want to get married.
He said I'm selfish and that I don't. She says that I'm selfish. I don't love.
Well,
I do love her.
He says, I just want to. How can I explain to her I'm willing to marry her once she
finds a better paying job and pays off her debt. That's why I was saying all you have to
back to 100. No, he says once she does these things, then he'll marry her. Not, I will marry you under the guise of a prenup that you will do this.
That's what I was saying, is that he's not thinking on the prenuptial part of it. That's why I said I have a solution for him in which he can go ahead and get married, and then all of that can happen while he's in the marriage, and then he has to hold her up to that, because that will give him a clause to break the marriage or get a divorce. But I don't think that you need to get a divorce because of that. If she's showing signs of, she's still working. The little bit of money that, look.
So how's she gonna pay off any?
I'm gonna tell you how. So she makes $55,000. So basically, she's netting or bringing home 35,000 if they're married. If she's not, then she's bringing home like 25,000. So if they go ahead and get married, he pays for everything. He can pay for everything because he has a six-figure salary plus bonuses 135. Well, depending on where they live at, hopefully it's not Florida, California, New York, or a major city. They can afford a home of like $250,000 to $300,000 in which she can front all of that and have a car to drive. And if she can take all of her money, $35,000 in 5 years, she can pay that debt and it'll be gone. That's how. That's how this relationship can work. But they really have to come together at the table and budget and discuss finances, and then also her holding her accountable for her debt, which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. A man doesn't necessarily, if you come into the business of marriage and you all set the terms that I'm gonna pay for everything as a man, or either we're gonna pay our own debts in our marriage because we want to get married, and I'm not waiting for you to pay your debts off before we get married. Sign a prenuptial agreement. You can do all of these things in a prenup, and it will hold up in court as long as you have that details and that information in there, and then you can put it in the back of your mind, because if she's still working, dude, you don't have to worry about her having to get a new job. She just need to consistently be paying her bills and then hold her up to the terms of the prenuptial agreement. But you yourself, as a young man, you can show her that you're not selfish and become a man and actually get the house under your name and mortgage under your name, and make her a beneficiary of that house in case you pass away. And then also too, like I said, make her accountable so that she can pay her $35,000 a year to pay off her debts. And she's only 26. So say, for instance, if you all hold off on having children until you're 28 and she's 31, then so be it. Then you all can have children then. But he still makes enough money in which they can support having a child or two, that he does it. That's the beauty of having a six-figure income, is that you have enough money to do these things depending on where you live at. So I wouldn't condone this for somebody who lives in a major city or in New York or Florida or California. Maybe Florida though. The cost of living, I think, is not that bad in Florida. Yeah. But
maybe not Tampa. I heard some.
But he's I think that he has enough IQ to put this all together and trying to explain it to her. Now, if she's willing to sign that prenuptial agreement, that I don't know, because a lot of people look at prenuptial agreements as, oh, you about to get over on me, and that's not the case at all. Prenuptial agreement, he also needs to put stipulations and clauses in there in case that he cheats on her or do things that breaks their vows. Then put 50% in there, and that's what she gets for alimony for, I don't know, for 5 years or 8 years or whatever the case may be. And then so that she know that it's real.
Yeah.
So that she doesn't feel like she's getting the short end of the deal here. Make it fair. It can be done. This isn't a end all be all type relationship that they got going on. They just basically have to get some financial understanding about who's going to do what and how it's going to look,
and a plan.
And plan it out, because that's what he don't have, because he missed the whole deal about a prenuptial agreement. I'm the one and to advocate that this is 2023. Prenups need to be a standard thing now in these times when young people get married, when anybody gets married in 2023. It does, so that everyone understands, and that actually they keep people married. Prenuptial agreements will keep you together because everything is transparent now. And also too, and God forbid you have to get a divorce, it will save you $60,000 or whatever the case may be, because a prenup only costs anywhere between like $1,000 to $3,000, depending on what lawyer you get to do it.
And you save a lot of time.
Yeah, and you save a lot of time. So if you do it the hard way and have to go through court, on average, a divorce in the United States is around $60,000 to $70,000 before it's final. Yeah. You're paying a lawyer, I think, like $500 an hour, which is outrageous in divorce court. So you make you make the smart decisions. This, like I said, people, don't be scared of prenuptial agreements, because they're more so there to help you all stay together. It makes divorce transparent. You all know what you can and cannot do, and you set boundaries in your relationships to stay honest and loyal to each other. So that's what that does. And so in this case, this is a great case to show that, in this situation, he can hold her accountable for her debts if they want to get married, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
She's entitled to his retirement funds when they have to retire. He's gonna have well over, and then also he's doing some other investments on the side, so he's on his way to his $1 million when he retires. And then also too, she's gonna have Social Security, hopefully, and also too maybe some sort of retirement fund once you pay off all her debts.
Yeah.
That she's not that far away from being debt free, even though it looks like it. But if they can, negotiate and navigate this relationship and the finances together, then they will be okay. They both cannot be selfish about this.
Right. They have to do it in a way. And then that's if they could just adjust it to not be selfish.
Because realistically, if they get married, is he going to let her starve to death?
Right.
If she's just
you would hope not.
Right. That's what I'm saying. No. He's not going to do that. He ain't. If he loves her that much, then yeah, he's going to feed her.
And the conservative thing to do, sir, is since you like to say that you're conservative in your thinking, then, it would be to take on that provider role and allow her to pay her debts like you want and be married now.
Right. Or the other option is to leave her. But I mean, evidently he's very strongly in the feelings of excuse me of wanting to keep her. He's very strongly in the feelings of wanting to keep her. So therefore,
I also don't like this. I'm also a realist and understand that nothing lasts forever. Don't be a Debbie Downer before you even get into the fun of marriage. Great day. People go into marriage with the mindset of, it's not gonna last forever, right from the very beginning.
Because if you're going to say that, then go ahead and break up with him.
Right. Like, what in the world?
Down the road, if something was to occur, what did he say?
Yeah.
He talks about but you see, a prenup will save you from that.
Right.
A prenup will save you from that. Irreconcilable differences does not have to be a thing if you sign a prenuptial agreement. Then you have to justify one of the terms of the prenups in order to get divorced.
Right.
Plain and simple, people. I don't know why like I said, I don't know why prenuptial agreements do not click. And that's something that both people that's what needs to become standard before. If you're dating out there, ask the person that you're dating, will you sign a prenuptial agreement for us in order to get married one day, hopefully? If that person say no, then maybe you should consider dating someone else, and then try to explain it to them first, though, that a prenup is not for me to get over on you, because they have to sign it in ink also. So why would you sign a document that's going to cause you to be a loser in the end? That makes no sense. And then also to get your own lawyer to review it with you. If that's the case, pay for your own lawyer, only probably $100, because the review of this document should be less than 1 hour, to be honest with you. You can create a prenup with 1 page. It doesn't have to be so extensive. But yeah, so look at it that way instead. You don't have to be all, like my wife said, a Debbie Downer about, the marriage is going to end in a divorce anyway. I'm gonna lose half my stuff. No, it doesn't have to be that way, y'all. Stop thinking that way. We have to evolve as people. They're Gen Z people. Y'all got more resources than us millennials than when we grew up. And a prenuptial agreement should be one of them. I'm gonna teach my children about prenups, my daughter and my sons, and they're not getting married unless they have one, to be honest with you, because we're going to ingrain that into them so deep so that they understand contract law and how it works and how it's supposed to be for the benefit of both people. When you make a deal with somebody, it's supposed to be a win-win for everyone. Nobody signs a deal and say, well, I'm about to take a L here, but I'm gonna go ahead and sign it. No, that don't make any damn sense. That makes no sense.
Right.
Makes none at all. But yeah, it can be done. I think that this guy here has to be serious about relationship and wanting to be a man and step up and be a provider. Now he needs to show her what a provider is. Mm-hmm. And then if he does that,
the provider's not selfish.
Right. Because she's saying that he's selfish, and that's probably what the situation is. But she's probably asking him to pay her college loans. That doesn't have to happen. He doesn't have to do that.
Right.
I am the one. I always say that the woman, before you all get married, like my wife was saying, you need to pay your debts, and come into the relationship with a clean slate, because that is fair. And it may be he thinks that it's unfair to him that I gotta pay $150,000 out of pocket just to
Right.
be with her.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that way. She can work. She can work.
Mhm.
She's working now. You all are still young. Y'all got enough time to actually get married. Work, like I said, for she can pay her debts off in about 5 years, and then y'all can start having children, or what case may be. And if you have a house, or if you're renting or whatever, then you all can go get a house if y'all want to, because this housing market sucks right now, to be honest with you. Like our house doubled in the value from when we bought it. And that's ridiculous. And that was like within 6 years. So hopefully the housing market gets better. It should. And then you can go and buy a house later on, if you all are currently renting or what have you. I don't know if you all are living together or whatnot, but she's just wanting to be secure in you, and seeing that you are a provider, and at the same token, you are not obligated to accept her as your wife either. So that's something that you can back away from. But if you all really cherish each other, really love each other, then you all will figure this out and make it work. And take my advice on her paying her debts off, sign a prenuptial agreement if you all want to get married. Or if not, then you all talk about it. Hey, well, we're living together. I'll take care of you, feed you, clothe you, and you can work and pay your bills. I'll put gas in your car, for you to go to work, and then pay bills, because he has enough to do all that and still have money left
Yeah,
over.
because nothing in this letter has said anything to me about him contributing to her well-being. Minus,
He doesn't have to, though.
so, I mean, in the sense of like, what is the major benefit? Because if he has all this money, but he's not providing in the sense of being non-selfish and actually helping to contribute to the well-being of your girlfriend, if she doesn't make nearly half the money you make, then I mean, like,
yeah, then why are you with her?
Right. And what is the benefit from her if she could do just minus the convenience of sex from a consistent person, and maybe even the companionship, because you guys have been together for so long? Y'all are living still two completely separate lives. So, I mean, maybe that's because it's a lack of information here. Like, he hasn't really said who pays what, or even if they live together. That's
Right.
not really.
And then for him, dude, she's not going to find that much of a better paying job by being an art teacher. Now, what she could do is find a job. She can get a state job, a public service job in a museum or something.
Yeah.
And then that's probably better benefits than that nonprofit organization.
Right,
which is
still keeps her in her art.
right.
Yeah.
So she could still be in the art field or what have you. There's things that he's just young and doesn't know how to explain these things to her, like he was saying.
Yeah.
So I can tell that he doesn't have someone around him that can bestow wisdom upon him.
Yeah.
But that is all. I mean, as far as the best advice that I could give you, that's pretty much it, man. Like you all can still be together and still have her pay her debts. And if you all want to get married, you all still can do that. But it's going to have to cause him to actually step up and provide some sort of financial input and investing, because what he's doing is investing in her becoming his wife one day, or him or in the mother of his children one day. So if he's really that into her, then he can make it work. It's really all up on you. This is a classic example of how we say that men control relationship, have control the keys to relationship. Women control the keys to legacy and children. So if that's who he wants to have children with, then these are the things that he needs to do in order to make that happen. So,
right. Because believe it or not, her safe route, I believe, is getting married and having a husband who doesn't have to pay her bills, but will help support her in her what she wants, which is
Right.
honestly, she says, supporting her goals in life. And honestly, I bet her goal in life is to get rid of this 150K.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's why she asking him to pay it.
Right. But my main thing would be for her, if, you see that your boyfriend has been great with money and he's doing all these, making these big business moves, consider listening to him and allowing him to lead you in the direction of positively, increasing your finances, saving for retirement, paying down your debts, things that you got to do for yourself as well. And also, I think it's super important for him, though, to step up into that role of not beating her down and saying, oh, she's that, it pities me to say, that failed artist. Like, that's not something he obviously said once. So it's like, don't beat her down for that aspect of it, but still take on that leadership role of saying, hey, I know things haven't worked out the way you wanted to, but we're together. Let me help direct and lead and guide this relationship. Because again, it's just like they're living totally separate lives.
Right. He has to really shed his boyish self and the mentality that he has. What men brains don't stop maturing until the age of 24 or 25. If I'm not mistaken, women stop at the age of 14. So he's still, like I said, he still hasn't fully matured yet.
Or he just reached the max at 24. I don't know the age. That's something we'll have to look into. But
no, it's around 24, 25.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's definitely at the point where you are a very responsible man. You should be confident in your abilities to lead your family. You have already led yourself on a great path. So I think a large part of it, and I think it would really be great for her as well, if you could step up and show like, all right, I can lead this.
What I would like to see here is that, they do a prenuptial agreement. They get married, and then she does pay her debts off, and then he retires her, and she takes care of the kids. She raises the children, and that way,
maybe even starts her own business doing art and stuff. And that's a beautiful part of why I say the safe route for a woman is to invest in her having a husband and having a family first. Because once you have helped your husband get to a certain point and that he can retire you, the great thing is then you have the freedom of not having to work that 9 to 5, and you can then make the choice. Not saying that you don't have to work, and that's a huge misconception of housewives, like that we don't work. Right. Yeah. Not even aside from the day-to-day work that we do for the family in the house, but oftentimes our minds, back then they used to make clothes. They used to cook dinners. They used to, it's a
clean houses.
Yeah. It's a whole bunch of different things that women just naturally took on based on what they were interested in. That was just how they, looked to make their money. Mine was making body butters. I started off making body butters and deodorants and balms and stuff. So stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like it's done and she just has to take care of the kids and whatever with her husband really setting it up and being great with money. He has a great position to really give leverage in this relationship and help move it to that next step of marriage, like you said, regardless of her not making that money. So I think that's really something he should really, really consider. And I think it would pay off in the end. I mean, obviously she's 26, so obviously she's going to be ready for kids and stuff soon. Granted, in fact, he's 24, so maybe not so much for him. Guys take a little bit of time, so.
I would, if I was him, I would wait. He's 24.
And still kind of fresh in his career.
And then, man, wait.
I think 28.
Wait 4 more years. Wait 4 years, because by the time she should be somewhere around done paying that $150,000, then have children.
Right.
Like I said, and then you all need to discuss about how whether she's going to stay at home with the children or with the child, and you continue to work, because like I said, around that time he should be making a lot more money, being the fact that he's a mechanical engineer.
Right. And he's saying I'm very conservative in my mindset, which I think is awesome, because what we're positioning is not a ideal where necessarily a liberal thinker would be thinking, because a liberal would be like, oh, 50-50, so but in this mindset, if he is very conservative in his thinking and you want to make her your wife, but you also want her to pay her debt, like my husband says, write that in the prenup and then help her to be able to put most of her money for her nonprofit into her, paying off her debt. Why not? I mean, this guy makes plenty of money to be able to do so. So in that conservative mind, if you love this woman, really help position her in a place so that she can pay off her debt. And then you guys can move on to the next stage of life. Because that's the beautiful thing. If you guys can work together as a team, you hit your goals so much faster. I think our generation, our society is so like, oh, I can do this on my own. I can get it on my own. But that's so slow. Like nobody gets it on their own faster than if they could if they had a person or a team working with them.
Well, I mean, but this is the dynamic of of her being a single modern woman who has a college degree. She's not even it's amazing that she's not even a doctor, and her college loan debt is $150,000.
Is that real? I'm sorry, we're not in college anymore. So anybody that can chime in on this and tell us if this
how much is
real?
Your college? What is your college? What is your degree? And how much debt do you have as far as college? We need to put a poll up or something.
Word, that is good.
Because we've been out of college for over 10 years.
Yeah, for art.
And then even if you hear about the people who graduated in the 80s, their college loan debt was like, it was something so small, amazing.
$20,000 at max, and they had a master's.
That's what I miss about the economy when it was good, was that you could graduate from college, a low college debt ratio. You could come out making $65,000. You can drive a Mercedes Benz and own a home
and take care of a whole family.
Take care of a whole family.
That's something that I think is kind of sad for men, is that they can't take care of whole families on the salaries that now starting off fresh out of college.
Heck no. Yeah. The wages don't even add up. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to actually go to college now these times, unless you're going for something like some sort of engineering or you're going to move up in business somehow. Or, I would, even doctors, they kind of got it hard too, because their debt is, close to the millions when they come out. I think 1.5 million or something.
They make it though over
over the course of time. Yeah. But I mean, that's a stressful job though. My goodness, is it worth it?
Yeah.
But I think doctors have, they have a low life expectancy as well because of your career. You got to think about your careers too, because, depending on the type of job that you have, can be detrimental to your health. You would think doctors would be healthy, but a lot of them are, smokers and work long.
For that stress relief, I bet.
Yeah, they work long hours and unfortunately, they work long hours and short staff. Hospitals are short staffed, especially coming out of COVID. Who wants to be a doctor and or a nurse now?
Yeah,
So
I wonder what their nurses, what are their college, student loans looking like after it and then student loan payments are about to start picking back up soon. Recently, isn't that their new thing? So
after July 1st.
Yeah, so she would have to start back paying student loans and stuff like that.
But like I said, go ahead and get that state job where in 10 years it'll be she'll still be able to pay it off within there.
You mean student loan forgiveness?
Yeah,
that's why you said maybe being an art teacher, that is one way. Student loan forgiveness.
She could be an art teacher. She could be like I said, work at a museum.
Yep, public service student loan forgiveness.
A state museum, and then she can qualify for public student loan forgiveness. But that'll take her 10 years though. You have to be in there for 10 years paying those bills. But you can pay more.
And being a teacher isn't like all the time. And then the advantage is if you do have kids later on the road, you could teach at their school or move up or substitute teach or, sometimes move along the school line with your kids somehow. It's options with it, certainly. But, wow, I'm really curious as to if this is the norm of like coming out. Then that really, who was it? Somebody recently we spoke to, and they were saying that was one of the big issues they were seeing with couples coming together is because of how much debt like people have, and then the fear of coming together with like so much debt.
Oh yeah, of course. That tells the tale when people are getting married less, and the age is 30 years old when people get married.
Yeah.
That tells the tale, and realistically, is what's going on is not because of modern women and modern men or whatever the case. It's the economy. That tells the tale, because if you go back in time, I mean, back to the 40s on up, people are getting married and married less. What was consistent throughout all of that is the inflation going up and up and up. And people continues to get married less and less and less and less, and the age gap of marriage is widen and widen and widen when they initiated marriage. So that's what's really going on. It's not men not getting married no more. Men ain't no holding out and hoping that they can put together a income to sustain a family first, you know. And then also too, you know, a lot of guys has just become content with their jobs and what they currently do. It just is what it is. So, you know, if that isn't working for them and they want to get married, then they have to get together with a woman who is working.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, but unfortunately, all of this doesn't equal up to retirement money. It just doesn't. So that's the reason why it's better for you to do this with somebody else as opposed to doing it alone, because it's harder for you in your later years being alone. You know, we already talked about loneliness and that epidemic with loneliness and all of that and what it means and whatnot. But yeah, so in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that's about the best we could do with this one. And I think that's great advice because
I think, I mean, you know, kudos to him for coming out of college making six figures. He did it.
Certainly.
At the age of 24. Good job.
Yeah, and having a steady career path to go on, and that's awesome. You've really positioned yourself to be a great provider. Well, then the only thing that I say is that a provider is also not selfish.
Right.
A provider is very, very generous, and a man who is a provider has no fear in being generous with his money because he actually will continuously see the cycle of it coming right back to him. So.
Right. So
especially through a family.
Any additional advice is to get a mentor, get somebody who is already married, somebody who is making the money that you're making as well, so that you can also talk about how to financially navigate within a marriage, and also to throw that idea to them about what should you do with your girlfriend and her current situation, because don't let finances be the reason why you don't get married. That's one of the hardest things now, is that I know it's hard, you all, you know, guys and gals. I know it's hard with relationships, and the economy is keeping people apart. We don't want to be in, like, he's worried about, you know, what if she runs off with half of my stuff? You know, prenuptial agreements. Let that be the normal thing. That needs to be the movement, is signing prenups. And it's not a bad thing. We need to take that stigma away from prenuptial agreements, because marriage is a business. You sign a marriage license, which is a contract for marriage, regardless thereof, if you like it or not, with the state or whatever, what have you. It is what it is. So therefore, what goes with other additional contracts are some sort of addendum or some sort of modification to that contract, which is a prenuptial agreement. So, you know, with that being said, if you all have any questions at any time during our topic discussions, reading of our letters, please, you know, chime in, send out comments to us. We'll be more than glad to actually, you know, talk about those and discuss those live here, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. And if you want to remain anonymous, please go to my wife's www.wifeconomics.com/submit a question website and submit a question to us anonymously if you would like. And if you can, please like, share, subscribe, and I would please share this video with young men, young college guys out there, young high schooler men who are getting out there into the world. This is a great video for you all to understand what you all can do if you're facing a situation like this, and also young women as well, young college women as well, because you all want somebody to pay your bills. I know it. But also too, you all really do want to get married. I do know that too, but you all need to negotiate some sort of prenuptial agreement so that you all can get married. So that is our time tonight. Thank you all, Blueprint family. Until next time, peace. Enjoy your weekend.